Hello guys, DJParson here and I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to introduce you guys to TTA Pulse. TTA Pulse is a new matchmaking system for Through the Ages that basically tries to bring Super Blitz competition with a ladder and everything that is expected of matchmaker. And yeah, a couple of guys have really been working hard on this. This is a community project and it's been really great. If you don't know the app or the web app, it's ttapulse.com. You guys should definitely check that out. I'm going to show you a little bit of the features. There's a match history. If you look at my profile, for example, you see the matches that you've played, amount of wins that you've got, and you can see against who you've played. You gain points, you lose some points and everything, and it's really great. There's also different tiers that you rank up from, and you start in Bronze Age, then you go up to Silver, Gold, and finally the Masters League. And if you're in the Masters League, you also get a rating and a ranking. And basically this is the ranking right now. Sandebo is on top. I'm on position 7 at the moment, quite alright. And there are a bunch of people who are playing this. It's for Super Blitz, 2-player only, but they might expand that in the future. So we're going to be very excited, and yeah, really congrats to all of the guys who have worked on this, and really thank you doing all of this for the community. And as a special video today, I want to show you a show match between Weidenbaum, who's currently on position 6 in the ranking, and Cmacu. I don't know which ranking he is at the moment. He's at the moment at 22. So that's going to be quite an exciting show match that Weidenbaum was so kind to provide me with, and we're going to check that out right now. So here we are. Gonna load in and see that Cmacu has the first turn and Weidenbaum will have the second, and I'm gonna speed up a little bit so that we can see what is going on. And Weidenbaum will look at the leaders and wonders. That is really good, and then we can see ourselves what is in. We see that Pierre's in, that Marlene is in, internet, fast food chains. It's going to be really interesting with Marlene and Pierre. If these guys, two very strong players, if they value Pierre and Marlene as much as I do, they plan to have a plan for that from the beginning. We see that from H2 there's Shakespeare, but no Bach, but still Shakespeare can be good with dramas. For example, you could try to go for Shakespeare and Marlene. So those are some combos to look at. And then for the wonders, that is not the exciting ones, but Railroad can be good, but there's no Watt. And then we see Joan of Arc, as I said before, but no Zizka, but there's a Magic Castle. See if these guys like that one as much as I do. And then I didn't catch quite what Cmacu took in his first turn, so we check that out once his turn again. Right now I'm looking at all the cards, seems very good, and then he decides to take the Roman roads for 2. And yeah, wishing good luck and have fun. Seems very good, very friendly mannered. And what is he writing? This game will maybe be seen on DJParson's YouTube. Yeah, apparently it is, guys. I told Weidenbaum to get a good game for me. And it looks like Cmacu has Hammurabi, and he elected him last turn. And Weidenbaum now needs a leader as well. So we're gonna see which one he decides to go for. First he builds a mine, uses pop, and takes Engineering Genius. That will mean he does skip all of the HA leaders, which is quite interesting. Cmacu is a fan of that he's on YouTube. So Weidenbaum without a leader because Boudica will be gone. And Cmacu now can either take a bunch of the Frugalities or the HA yellow cards, which I don't like that much, but he probably will build another lab. Weidenbaum again looking at the cards, at the leaders and wonders in the deck, and there we see that Cmacu took Frugality and Urban Growth for 2, which is quite expensive, but really he didn't have any other good options. The rest of the card row, especially those who cost one civil action, are all from HA, and those yellow cards, well, are not really that great because they only give 1 resource, and the H1 counterparts are way better. So I like that he didn't take those, but took the H1 yellow cards. He also took made it so that Code of Laws is on that 6th position, so that Weidenbaum has to pay 2 civil actions for that. Code of Laws, of course, is one very important technology card in 2 versus 2. Sorry, 1 versus 1. So 2-player game. Weidenbaum does get an H1 leader because he doesn't have an HA leader, so that's really good, getting that one early. And then he will build his lab and build 1 step of the Roman roads, and he can finish that next turn. And then we will have Isabella and Roman roads, so a lot of resource production. I'm a big fan of that. 4 resource production at the moment, maybe even gets up to 5, or probably gets up to 5 if he finishes his Roman roads next turn. So definitely like that. Cmacu playing fast, taking the Engineering Genius and the Knights. Knights, of course, very important. The Engineering Genius will help him greatly with finishing those pyramids. Let's see if Weidenbaum wants to play politics here. He has immigration, reds, call to arms, and border conflict. The immigration, probably not that good. If you have Roman roads, you don't need as many happy face because you have 1 more yellow cube. It's not the biggest kind of difference, but immigration in general, if you don't need the happy faces right now, if you don't plan to get them yet, maybe you want to hang on to that a little bit. Same basically goes for the reds. With extra yellow cubes you have extra food, and so reds, depending on when they came out, can be quite good or quite bad. But usually on reds, for example, you want to wait until the deck progresses a little bit more. You don't want to play that as the first cut into the deck. You can always do that next turn. And then let's see if he plays one of the call to arms or border conflict. If he feels like he can get stronger, but with Cmacu getting the Knights, the first Knights, I don't really think he should play one either. So Weidenbaum finishes Roman roads, will be getting the Knights next turn, so he's guaranteed to get that. But he again thinks a little bit about the Roman roads, but I think you should also finish that. You could just increase population. You still produce 2 food. Alternatively, which land or patriotism? Irrigation, probably the better one of those. I mean, you don't get the rich land together with that, but still there's, as we can see, no ocean liners, so irrigation, definitely a good card in 2-player games. It's really, really important. And this is going to be interesting, which cards Weidenbaum wants to discard. Okay, keeps both of these strength events, or is he thinking about that again? I mean, yeah, probably can go. He's not sure what he wants to do. Looking back at what he did this turn, and maybe he is thinking about playing around immigration and reds, or it just stays with what he has and gets rid of call to arms and immigration. Okay, so he keeps the reds. Maybe that can be quite good for him. If he gets a lot of population out early, then plays the reds, so that he doesn't have a lot of food that he can lose. So interesting that he decides to keep both of them. Draws a tactic, draws 1 defend card. Now Cmacu can get the monarchy. Monarchy, very good with Hammurabi. He can also maybe go for the revolution with that. That's gonna be quite interesting. And let's see what Cmacu will go for. So his options, oh yeah, now we see he goes for the pyramids and the iron. Can go for iron next turn, upgrade 2 times even. Then he maybe still gets the monarchy because that stays on 2 civil actions, so Weidenbaum not that likely to get that one. Because he has a lot of resources he has to spend to not have corruption. Even though Isabella definitely helps with the extra blue cubes. And also, as we said, 5 resource production is quite good. So he's probably looking at a way to spend his resources. Like this, he finds a way. He can go for monarchy next turn, costing him a lot of science. I don't know if he has that, especially if he wants to get knights and irrigation as well. That will be quite expensive for science. So he goes for alchemy. This means that Cmacu gets monarchy for 1 even. I don't know if I like that one too much. But yeah, Weidenbaum is really struggling for civil actions at the moment. So I think taking the monarchy is probably a good idea. Especially because he can make quite a nice turn with that, going for the fighting band with 1 extra warrior. So I think I would like that. Go grab the monarchy away from Cmacu, who would definitely like that one. And then become stronger. Could even play anything. but he doesn't have to. Now just increase population and take those knights. I definitely think you should take the knights. Okay, he goes for alchemy. I'm not the biggest fan of that, giving Cmacu the monarchy for 1. Who can even go for that next turn. If he doesn't want to go for the iron, he probably still wants to go for the iron. But yeah, he definitely will take the monarchy. Okay, Weidenbaum draws Rebellion and another defend card. If he had kept Immigration, definitely could have tried to go for a lot of happy face. That is always nice if you draw Rebellion and Immigration. And that definitely justifies going for a lot of happy faces early, like Bread and Circus, especially with Pierre in the deck as well. So let's see if Cmacu wants to go for the iron. He could also go for the monarchy this turn. But as we all know, early iron is really, really strong. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for that. Has growth and patriotism, those don't really help him. If he wants to go for monarchy, he first has to play another card because his hand is full. Development of planning, let's see what we get. Politics, warfare and religion. So either draw cards, get a free warrior, or get the free religion. And I don't think Weidenbaum has a free population. And Cmacu does, so he definitely could take the free religion or free warrior. Weidenbaum will have to take the cards, so quite... yeah, probably not the best card that you want to take. And let's see if Cmacu indeed... I think I would go for the religion, but that's debatable. Yeah, it goes for the religion. And 2 iron grabs the monarchy. Can even go for a revolution with monarchy next turn with Hammurabi. So let's see, Weidenbaum again skips, draws extra cards from the development of politics. And yeah, it did get rid of the fighting band, so maybe drawing that heavy cavalry can be okay at some point, but yeah, usually heavy cavalry is too hard to get. And he skipped the knights, oh, didn't even catch that, so no knights for him. So he can't go for the heavy cavalry, so that is not a good draw for him. Iron on 2, I mean he has 5 resource production at the moment, but that will go down quite a lot once he loses Isabella, or the Roman roads produce science instead. So yeah, still the iron is pretty good. But now he's really lacking civil actions. And he has 8 food. That will give him corruption if he doesn't spend a lot of food. So yeah, build 1 warrior that helps. Go for the iron. Very interesting. He has great science production now. I like that, definitely. And the next turn he can go for the iron. Has irrigation in hand as well. That is always quite nice to have irrigation, iron and alchemy. If you can get all of those going. So definitely not a bad position. He will have great production. And looks like Cmacu can't really punish him right now because he's Hammurabi, so he can't play that aggressively. And Weidenbaum has to discard a lot of cards. Keeps Pestilence. Extra science open from Cmacu, who has played 2 events now. And yeah, let's see if he wants to go for a revolution. Cmacu could go for the revolution and still has 1 civil action left, basically because of Hammurabi. Then he could upgrade his last iron. So definitely something that could be considered. Okay, he goes for Joan of Arc, upgrading the iron and taking a breakthrough instead. Also pretty nice. He has 1 extra civil action from the pyramids already, so maybe the revolution isn't as good, so I definitely can understand that. And he needs a new leader. If he went for the revolution, he would have to get a new leader. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I agree that at this stage he doesn't need the monarchy revolution with that extra civil action. And now he has extra military action from Joan of Arc as well. Magic Castle comes out very late. Don't think Weidenbaum can grab that for 4 civil actions. That would be all that he has. I think he will go for iron, yes. He does. Can upgrade 2 times. And maybe just increase population. Maybe he doesn't want to skip the swordsman. No, he doesn't want to skip those. So he takes that. Looks at Magic Castle. That's very interesting that he hovers over Magic Castle, then looks at Cmacu's board. So definitely checking out if Cmacu will grab that Magic Castle. Which I think he will. Both of them have very big resource production. So it's very likely that Cmacu will grab the Magic Castle to be able to go for that and spend his resources on that, which is always a nice way to spend your resources is wonders if you have the civil actions to grab them. But the Magic Castle, of course, quite easy to build with only 2 steps. So I think both of these players definitely would want to have that wonder. So right now looking at the cards, at the leaders and wonders. He has 12 science. He probably hopes for an early government form for match 2. Preferably the Conmon, I would think. Does want to grab the swordsman. He did discard a tactic, so he doesn't have the tactic. So that will be one problem for him, that he needs to draw one. Doesn't right now. And yeah, let's see if Cmacu will grab that Magic Castle. He could, but not finish it this turn. Yeah, but still I would definitely grab the Magic Castle. And yeah, he has a lot of resources. He could also increase population, build another temple to get stronger. Of course, we don't know what Cmacu played into the deck, what the events are, if he needs to be stronger or not. But he has played all 3 cards, so that is always a big advantage that you have. If you play a lot of cards, you have more information. And yeah, especially now with Joan of Arc, he has a lot of events deck control, because Weidenbaum is completely blind what might be coming. And Cmacu has very good ideas, and even the bonus of knowing exactly what the next card is from Joan of Arc. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cmacu just grab the Magic Castle. If you look at this, he can't finish it, but he could just increase population. Then he needs more population soon. He only gets that 1 population out. Can, as I said, maybe build the temple and then grab a Magic Castle to Net of Corruption. That won't last forever. 2 happy faces from 2 temples, and yeah, he doesn't have any food production at the moment. There's no second irrigation left, so he will have to hope for the selective breeding, and of course Weidenbaum knows that, so he will definitely grab that one away if Cmacu doesn't get that on his turn. Which of course will also be quite expensive for Weidenbaum, taking selective breeding for 3, so that's gonna be a very interesting card. Who gets that and who has to pay how much for that. But yeah, I mean, Cmacu needs a way to spend his resource. He doesn't have an easy way at the moment. He could, yeah, goes for the Magic Castle, plays 1 tactic, the Fighting Band himself, so Weidenbaum can copy that at a later point. Strategy comes out. That is an early strategy. Weidenbaum has a lot of science, so we would definitely like that. That would also open the options for Republic for him. If he just grabs that, develops it, then he can easily go for Republic. Okay, Development of Crafts is the last card that Weidenbaum opens here. He gets 1 free population. Has a lot of food left. Yeah, he will just grab the strategy. Can go for another warrior. I mean, yeah, this works to not have corruption. Maybe that's not the most important part. One big problem, of course, is the strategy is really expensive for 3 selections. Weidenbaum's still at only 4 selections total, so the strategy is yeah, kind of expensive. On the other hand, most of the cards in the first row are from H1, so they're not worth as much anymore. So getting this early strategy, can't even go for it. I mean, I don't hate this. This looks pretty solid. 2 corruption, not the biggest deal if you have 6 resource protection. Oh, and 1 spread in circus as well. Yes, there's Pierre. He definitely looked at Pierre. He needs happy faces, definitely. So I could go for Spread Circus. The problem is his hand will be full, even though it's probably not the biggest problem. Cavalryman. Yeah, it's really interesting. We see here that Weidenbaum wants to grab a lot of cards, but if he takes strategy, you only take 1 other card. So does he decide to go for the Cavalryman, or does he want to go for the strategy? Would draw him extra cards. The strategy, he needs a tactic, so I wouldn't even say it's bad to just develop the strategy to draw extra cards, but he decides to grab the Cavalryman, doesn't want to get left without that technology, because he doesn't have knights. So that of course is also pretty important, having those technologies available. And Pestilence open as the first card. Weidenbaum will just lose 1 unhappy worker, can get 2 new population if he wants to. And maybe we can also see what Cmacu will lose. He loses 1 free population as well. That costs him quite a bit. He can't get that back. So that definitely was a good card played by Weidenbaum, going for the Pestilence, so Cmacu has even one less population. He will finish the Magic Castle, I would assume, this turn, giving him more strength, more... Oh, and also the Railroad. That is really interesting. So he finishes the Magic Castle and grabs the Railroad to produce even more resources. So Weidenbaum goes for the strategy this turn. Can increase population. Yeah, he needs Happy Faces. And he could also want a Wonder. I'm not so sure. Okay, he looks at what cards could be in the deck. There's Foray, Border Conflict, no Uncertain Borders. But yeah, the problem is there is a Wonder, the Harvard College, but he has science enough at the moment. He doesn't need more science, he needs food, he needs civil actions. Oh, grabbing the Opera. I mean, yes, the Opera can be quite good. He has a lot of resources, so if he can like go for 2 Operas even next turn, that can give him a big head start in the culture race, because he's still at 0 production. This gets him out of corruption as well. So yeah, I mean, that's looking very interesting. The Opera could be hard to go for that if it's not too expensive, because Cmacu has the Magic Castle. Could try to pressure him, but looks like Weidenbaum will take that chance. Okay, so the historic territory, that would be quite good for both of the players. That's not always the case, because usually it's one of the lower impact colonies, but both really need Happy Faces, so definitely worth quite a bit. And Weidenbaum has a lot of warriors, which he doesn't need at the moment. He built them mostly because to get out of corruption and have a little bit of strength, but he definitely would like to get rid of some. He doesn't have a new tactic yet, so he doesn't know what he has to rebuild, but still you don't need 3 warriors for a lot of tactics, or no tactics even. So that's gonna be interesting what he's willing to bet. Right now it looks like only 1 warrior and 3 resources. I mean, he couldn't get the population back easily. Yes, he would free up 1 from the Happy Face, and Cmacu gets it for 1 warrior and 1 colonization card with that cartography that he went for. So going for colonization. And now he has enough Happy Faces for now. He still doesn't get that population back, so it's quite expensive for him, even if it's just a warrior. Okay, he finishes the Railroad, grabs reserves, I believe, and has 8 resource production now. That is quite a lot. So let's see what Weidenbaum will do. There's Justice System. He definitely would like Justice System. He needs more Happy Face. He needs more science. No, not Happy Faces, not science. I mean, he does need Happy Faces, but most of all, he needs civil actions. That was what I'm trying to say. What he's hoping for the most, still new government form, Republic or Conmon. But those don't show up. The Justice System shows up, and the problem he has, Justice System would make it. Oh, his hand is full, so he can't even take that one. So he has to first take it. Or first develop the drama and then go for Justice System as he's showing right now. And then he could build 1 Opera. That is something he could go for, building 1. Yeah, also maybe like sneaking in the Justice System. Of course, that makes it quite hard to go for Republic and Conmon, because that would spend all of his science. If he keeps his options like this, he can go for both of those technologies next turn. So he definitely don't disagree with that. This also gives him the civil action right now, even though he has to spend extra to grab that one. So maybe I would think about, yeah, leaving the Justice System and maybe taking the next turn if it comes down to 1 civil action. Cmacu already has the Code of Law, so he probably won't be taking that one away, especially not if his Justice System still is on 2 civil actions. Then I don't think Cmacu would spend those 2 civil actions to grab that one. I mean, if you grab Justice System, you definitely want to go for this turn, I think, so I don't like not developing that. But my play would be not taking Justice System, but going maybe for 2 Operas, even go a lot into that, maybe even grab one of the leaders, not disturb the card row, but he goes with the Justice System. It's also fine, gives him the 5th civil action that he really needs. Yeah, he can probably get rid of those aggressions. I don't see him winning any of those. And I would keep the war, definitely. Can also get rid of the strategy, Cmacu having that navigation and all, or the cartography. And he draws a tactic, the Hussars. So if he gets rid of his warriors, he can just rebuild cavalrymen, so that is definitely nice to draw that tactic. Maybe not the best, but definitely not a bad one as well. So let's see what Cmacu will do. He has and not a lot of science production yet. If you take a look at the overview, as Weidenbaum is showing us that at the moment really nicely. Cmacu has 5 civil actions, 3 military. Weidenbaum has 5 civil and 4 military actions, so pretty even, both still a despotism. Cmacu has more resource production, but doesn't have a lot of science production. On the other hand, he already started his culture production. He has a big lead, he has more information still on the event stack, he's still a lot stronger. And yeah, quite a big culture lead at the moment from the Magic Castle and Joan of Arc. And that extends even more with that, with winning those crusades. Weidenbaum is at 0 culture now. So yeah, definitely will be missed from him, those culture points. And Cmacu really go for the Republic, or is he waiting now for new government form? That is always a hard decision. Do you go for the monarchy that you grabbed early, or do you go and wait for that Conmon? Even though it would only be Conmon that he can go for, he can't really go for the Republic because he doesn't have the strategy. So I think I would still go for the monarchy, giving him more civil and military actions. On the other hand, he doesn't have a lot of science production, so he has to be very careful what he spends his science on. He might, depending on his tactics, he might need to go for swordsmen and the knights. So then he has to spend a lot of science on that. He has that breakthrough that will help him. He could also go for scientific method this turn. I think I would maybe even like that more. If one moment would be so kind and go back to Cmacu's screen. He could grab the scientific method, develop that and upgrade once. With reserves he could even upgrade twice, but he could just take another reserves or something. The problem is his hand is full. So maybe he can play reserves, then grab scientific method, develop that and upgrade his labs, so he would finally have more science production. And then he can afford monarchy, swordsmen and knights at a later point, or he can just wait for a new government form, not spend that on monarchy, because, yeah, let's see, he does exactly that. Oh, no, not exactly. He goes and develops knights already, instead of playing the reserves and upgrades only one lab. I think that's perfectly fine as well. And Weidenbaum really played politics finally. I think he only played once. Okay, plays iconoclasm, opens another territory. I mean, this time he probably can bid more. So 5, that's interesting. He could... Okay, Cmacu wins it again. He could have bid more, in my opinion. The problem is he still doesn't have a lot of population. So maybe that it was the right call not to bid more. Cmacu wins it again for just 1 warrior. That colonization game is going really, really strong for Cmacu. That is paying off. He didn't get the greatest territories, historic territory and the strategic, but drawing some tactics maybe could have been definitely worth it for the strategic territory. Weidenbaum grabs Maximilian Robespierre, which, yeah, makes sense. He needs a new government form, and that will save him a lot of science. So Isabella will be gone soon, so yeah, grabbing Maximilian this turn. Alternatively, he could go for Newton. That would produce him 1 extra science, give him some civil actions, but I don't hate Robespierre. He should be able to get either the Republic or the Conmon. If Cmacu gets all of those and can grab the other one away, then there's still H3 government forms. Okay, Weidenbaum wants to finally go for some food. I still would grab Robespierre here and maybe just build that opera. Build another opera, go up to 6 culture production, finally catching up a little bit. Yeah, I think I agree with this turn, it's looking pretty good. Also going for food, finally has everything under control. We'll get some new problems with happy faces, but he has of everything a little bit. He doesn't have all in one. He's pretty balanced overall, so definitely looking not too shabby in that regard. Of course, Cmacu still has the military advantage and yeah, the culture lead for now. So definitely, I mean, at this one I probably would say Cmacu has the better position. He has a lot of strength, he has a Magic Castle, so late game wars should go into his favor. He has good science production, he can go for Newton this turn. or for Catherine. Both probably fine. Newton would give him extra science protection, which is really important. Save him civil actions on those swordsmen, and still no government form. He will be losing 2 strength once he loses Joan of Arc, but I think... yeah, I think I would go for Newton here. Let's see if he decides to go for Catherine instead, which could work if Weidenbaum doesn't get stronger. Also, Catherine giving 2 culture production is quite nice, and that 3rd military action that Cmacu doesn't have right now. Okay, politics of strength, really, really good for Cmacu, of course. If he didn't have a tactic yet, that will be very good for him. On the other hand, maybe he would have hoped for that to come out during H3, when you draw those important impacts or wars. So interesting that he decided to play something. He knew what was on top, because he is Joan of Arc, of course. So he knew what was coming, so maybe he's still searching for a new tactic. Doesn't want to stay on those fighting men. He doesn't have any population in military at the moment, but still has 12 strength, while Weidenbaum has 3 military units. So yeah, that's how it can go sometimes, especially with Joan of Arc, Magic Castle, and of course the railroad. So yeah, he's taking his time thinking about this turn, which definitely is more than okay. And Nobel is also left, so maybe he even wants to go for Nobel. So 3 pretty good leaders left. Really depends on which cards Cmacu takes. He can also, okay, go for Catherine, upgrade, go for 1 knight and another breakthrough. Stays at 12 strength, so Weidenbaum will have to increase his strength if he wants to keep up and not get punished by Catherine, but he wants to go for the Republic, get those civil actions finally, which will mean that he will be weaker next turn, so he will be using 1 yellow cube to Cmacu against Catherine. But still pretty good, getting the Republic out this turn. Next turn, if he wants to go for Evolution, he would not draw H3 military cards, so that is always very important which ones you don't want to draw and which ones you want to draw. In this position, I definitely think he has a tactic already, so I agree that he should try to do the revolution with Robespierre this turn, so that next turn he has a lot of civil actions and all of those military actions available, and then he can finally keep up with the strength. Grab Revolutionary Idea has a lot of science now, Breakthrough and Revolutionary Idea in hand. Won't be getting the Swordsman out like this. He will be discarding those, which I think is fine. He didn't draw an H2 tactic, which needs Swordsman. He's not gonna draw a tactic this turn, because he's not drawing any cards. So you don't really need Swordsman, in my opinion. You have Cavalrymen and Cannons, you have the Hussars already. So I definitely would agree that you can discard or can lose the Swordsman to the end of the age, which will happen before his next turn. So I agree with that decision. And now Weidenbaum has a very good position because he has everything covered basically, and besides military at this point, but he has the necessary technologies. He doesn't have the best population, not the best food. He will be losing 1 extra yellow cube to Catherine, as we said. Happy Face is still looking a little bit clunky because he doesn't have a source for a lot of Happy Faces, only a couple from the theaters. But besides that, he has great science, especially with those in hand, good resource production, good culture production, and a lot of civil and military actions now, which is of course really, really important. Okay, Cmacu will go for the selective breeding. He still needs food and grabs 1 opera. Very interesting. And he used Catherine, of course, so Weidenbaum now has active happiness problems. So he might just go for the team sports that just became available. That would help him with his happy face problems. Goes for emigration, so he definitely... Ooh, I mean, that's great timing for that iconoclasm. If you look again, instant replay, place that emigration and gets the iconoclasm. Robespierre is a leader that you have one-time use of most of the time. Yes, sometimes you can get 2 revolutions with Robespierre. That, of course, always has the downside of not drawing H3 military cards, so no impacts, no wars, whichever you're searching for. Cmacu, yes, he used Catherine already, so at least he got that, but he now lost 1 military action and 1 and 2 culture production. So definitely, I think definitely the better trade for Weidenbaum. And yeah, it's going to be interesting if Weidenbaum will just grab Churchill this turn, or if he will stay without a leader. It's always a question, especially with the iconoclasm. Yeah, definitely, Churchill definitely is a good leader. He's definitely better than no leader. And if he doesn't grab Churchill, then Cmacu will grab it next turn because he has the same position, that he doesn't have a leader anymore. So I definitely agree that taking that leader is quite important. And then it really depends on when the other leaders come out. Yes, they're probably leaders that are better than Churchill in this position. For example, Marlene Dietrich would be better for Weidenbaum, but Churchill is here right now. He can give him 3 culture this turn, so I definitely like that, and agree with the decision to go for the first leader that you can get. Deny that from Cmacu, so good move by him, I think. Draws Input of Balance and Input of Culture, as well as the entrenchments. Freedom of movement and 2 new leaders come out, Chaplin and Pierre de Coubertin, but Cmacu can't go for Pierre. He could go for Chaplin, but for 3 probably not. He now has time. He can pick whichever leader he wants. He only has to look at when they come out, because Weidenbaum took his leader from H3. That takes a lot of pressure off you, that you don't have to grab these for 3 civil actions. You can wait a little bit. On the other hand, the problem of course is he doesn't have a leader right now, so he wants the new leader as fast as possible. So up and down sides, both of them. And of course he has to be pretty afraid now. It takes the Air Forces, definitely agree with that one. Air Forces, if it comes out and you are in a position where you should be a little bit afraid. I mean, Weidenbaum has good resources and everything, has Churchill now, so he definitely can go for a lot of military. Definitely grab the Air Forces. Air Forces, in most games, is worth 3 civil actions, depending on when it comes out, of course. And if the other player has one already. But definitely grab that Air Force away from Weidenbaum, who now has the choice to make if he wants to play his first impact. I definitely think he could afford to go for the Input of Culture, but could be too early to tell. On the other hand, he has the freedom of movement, maybe can get rid of one of the warriors. Definitely agree with that one. He could put him, thinks about irrigation, interesting. Yeah, if he wants more population, he definitely needs more food production. He has a lot of civil actions now, can grab those juicy yellow cards, reserves, and revolutionary idea. Can even get another revolutionary idea or reserves in the last row. And then, I mean, the alternative would probably be to put the warrior into the opera, which might also be a little bit too greedy. But you still have quite a bit of culture he has to catch up. He only has 1 wonder, so wonders are looking pretty good as well. Can finish those, and only has to pay 1 extra civil action to take them. So thanks again. Oh no, almost. So we're gonna take a look again at the civilization overview. There it is. So 63 culture against 30 and 7 production against 8. Keep in mind Cmacu has had 1 more turn, so Weidenbaum basically is at 38, or with Churchill even at 41. So pretty close, but yeah, Cmacu has about 20 more than Weidenbaum, which is basically like 1 H3 wonder. So yeah, I still think I would have gone with the warrior into the opera. But because, yeah, the irrigation gives you a little bit of extra food, but not that much. And yes, you can go for one extra population next turn with that, so that is quite good. So it basically delays the opera by 1 turn. Maybe that's fine, getting more population out. It doesn't have a lot in military, only 2 warriors, which he probably will delete at some point and put this in more efficient military. Okay, thanks again about everything. Can play the Input of Balance. It opens economic progress, so even more resources, even more food. Let's see if he again puts the warrior into the irrigation. Yes, he does. And yeah, the rest was pretty solid, grabbing all of those yellow cards, especially Revolutionary Idea and Reserves for 2 and 1 civil action. Definitely like that. Now he has Corruption, so I mean he could even destroy one warrior, put that into Okay, goes for the cavalryman. And like this, still has corruption. I still wouldn't hate one more opera. Guys noticing that I would really like that. He has 18 resources, enough resources to spend a couple of that into those operas. Maybe it's too greedy, but Cmacu isn't looking that threatening. He only has knights developed. Yes, he has air forces in hand as well. Okay, going for United Nations. With the Emblem of Culture, that will be 10 extra culture for Weidenbaum. So he catches up with that. Also not bad. Not bad. Didn't get that much culture from the United Nations. But overall it's an interesting move. Spending so many resources early in H3 on a Wonder is usually not what you want to do. But this has the bonus of getting 10 culture from the Emblem of Culture. And then he will have overtaken Cmacu, I believe, after his production phase. Still has 8 or 11 production of culture with Churchill. Plays one revolutionary idea. I mean, yeah, this is looking good as well. He doesn't get a lot of military, so this is also greedy in a way. He's just spent 16 resources on only culture. The Wonder doesn't give anything else besides the culture. So that is quite a big investment this early. That's why usually you want to finish your one and your last or turn before that, depending on the resources that you have. If you have to catch up a lot and have way more resources and no danger of war, then of course you can go for these wonders earlier, which might be how Weidenbaum sees this, that he's not really threatened by Cmacu because Weidenbaum does have Churchill, does have the necessary technologies in hand. Cmacu only with knights, only with air forces, can't go for a lot of strength all of a sudden. And he doesn't. He goes for the fast food chains, giving Weidenbaum a lot of yellow cards in the first and second row. Emigration doesn't hit anybody. Would definitely like to see Weidenbaum grab that engineering, and he does. And now he can go for that opera. Come on, Weidenbaum, you can do it. You can do it now. Go for that opera. Cheaper. Military theory, also really important. Taking that away from Cmacu, so I like that. And build one other opera, very good. Take reserves. Cmacu will be getting Endowment of the Arts and Patriotism. But I think in this kind of culture race, it isn't too bad. Even though the Endowment of the Arts might hurt a little bit. He could also not take the military theory. Maybe that's the technology that Cmacu can't really afford anyway, and Cmacu isn't looking like he's trying to go for strength or wars himself. If we look at this, his civilization here, one knight, no other technologies, no tactic at the moment. There's not a threatening civilization, even if he gets the military theory, which he would have to spend a lot of science on. He only has 13. If he needs air forces and the military theory, that is a lot of science that he doesn't have at the moment. Also, what tactic is he going to go for with the knights? Weidenbaum has the hussars himself, so Cmacu definitely would need another military technology like the rockets or something to at least have something he can go for as far as tactics go. So I don't think Weidenbaum has to grab the military theory. He can spend that on taking Endowment of the Arts. That is 6 culture for him or for Cmacu, depending on when the wonders are finished, and then could grab another revolutionary idea. So I think I would not have grabbed the military theory, but Weidenbaum does, making it even more clear that there won't be war from Cmacu. Maybe Weidenbaum is still thinking about doing that himself. He still has Churchill, has the cavalryman in hand, can go for both next turn, has a lot of reserves. So, but he discards the war, so his plan is also not going for war. Then I definitely don't agree with taking the military theory. Probably still fine. He has a lot of civil actions. It's not like this taking that destroyed his whole turn. But this means that Cmacu can get the Endowment of the Arts, etc. So a lot of impacts drawn by Weidenbaum here. Technology, a bit of technology could be quite good, depending on what they spend their science on. Input of science, not that good right now. Maybe Weidenbaum will go for computers. That could make input of technology and science very good, both of them. That is always nice if you draw both of them. You can commit a lot into going for computers, going for input of science and technology, and then he still has input of culture, which is a great card to have in last position, especially in the game state we are right now. So definitely like that. Drawing a nice impacts. And another overview here, let's see, 73 against 83 culture, so Cmacu definitely can use the Endowment of the Arts. So that's 6 culture for him. If he doesn't finish his fast food chains that he still has, that is something we have to keep in mind, that Cmacu already has a wonder in construction. That is basically 20 culture extra for him. Weidenbaum has the better impacts right now, I think. So that's gonna be quite an interesting culture race. And with such high culture production and a lot of H3 wonders, the early culture that Cmacu gained is not as important, because there's in general a lot more culture that both of these have. In closer games or in games where there's not a lot of culture production, then the, let's say, 20 culture that Magic Castle gives you can be even more important than in this game. He will go for Marlene, just giving him a couple of happy faces and 3 happy faces and 3 culture production at the moment, putting him at 16 culture production, which is quite strong. So he doesn't have any tactic yet, Cmacu, so Marlene is not giving him any strength right now, but as you said, this is not gonna come down to strength. Probably. There can always be a surprise war, but Weidenbaum doesn't have one in hand, and I don't think Cmacu's in a position to go for that. So Weidenbaum, looking at the technology, is 0 against 4 at the moment. If he wants to go for computers, that could be quite nice. Go for computers, develop them this turn. Don't go for the input of colonies. Yeah, that was close. National Pride. Cmacu wins that one. That was close. That could at some point have been won by Weidenbaum, so that's really, really good for Cmacu. Weidenbaum will go for air forces and computers. Yeah, I think going for 2 computers now secures the input of science and gives even more for the input of technology. What he thinks again about that. I definitely think you have to grab the air forces, even though it's not gonna come down to military. You want to make absolutely sure that that doesn't happen. I'm not super happy with military build-up and everything. I mean, yes, he gets the 1 computer like this. I would like to see him go for 2 computers, even if he has to use reserves for that. Which I don't think he has, right? It only costs 3 to upgrade, and he can take urban growth. Probably wants to use the urban growth to upgrade the lab to the computers. Oh, he's looking at democracy. Yeah, that is a nice catch that he went through the whole card row again and looking at democracy. With that in mind, Cmacu can just go for democracy. Can go for that next turn, maybe build another opera and still finish his wonder. That would be quite good for him. So I think we will see Weidenbaum rethink his turn and grab away the democracy. That would be quite good for Cmacu. So I think, yeah, we will see him take that back. I still think you go for computers. He already committed to the input of technology. Definitely upgrade 1. I would upgrade another one. I would maybe just grab democracy and air forces. Okay, he doesn't want to grab the democracy away. So he does the same he did before. Not afraid of the democracy, so we'll see if Cmacu goes for that. There's one point to be made, that is democracy costs 17 science and the input of technology is in the deck. So that is also quite expensive to spend 17 science on that. Okay, let's see. Impact, inhabited territory. Weidenbaum definitely should send everything, but I think Cmacu will take this one. Pretty good that Weidenbaum didn't play the input of colonies. Cmacu gets it for his warrior. Internet is coming down. Internet and Empire State could both be quite good for Weidenbaum. If he has the resources. He has 2 reserves in hand from H3, so definitely could be that he has enough. Will come down to a little bit of number crunching. He doesn't have any problems with taking those wonders. He only has 2 wonders, has a lot of civil actions. The internet might actually be really, really good for him, especially if he goes for another computer, which is free for him with the efficient upgrade. Maybe even go for another one with the urban growth. Could be interesting if you can finish that still. Maybe just grab another reserves. He does have the engineering, so finishing that internet is quite easy for him. Cmacu can make use of the endowment of the arts now. That is quite interesting. The fast food chains isn't that good for him, but he just got 2 free population from the inhabited territory. And the input of balance is looking quite balanced as well. Both should be at 12 from the input of balance, I think. Let's see what Cmacu wants to go for here. I think democracy would be good in his position. He doesn't know that he shouldn't be spending all of his science in one thing because of the input of technologies. Play the endowment of the arts, get that 6 culture, go for democracy, build another opera, and maybe play those reserves to make sure that you can finish the fast food chains next turn. You should have the civil actions for that. Yeah, goes for democracy. Let's slow down. Grabs modern infantry. Oh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, he has enough next turn for the fast food chains, because next turn definitely could be his last, or will be his last. So, yeah. And then the input of science played by Weidenbaum opens to the input of balance. 12 for both. Was I right? Yes, I was. 12 for both. Still, Weidenbaum has 2 really good impacts in the deck now. Science and technology. And even the input of culture in hand, which he probably won't be able to win. But let's see what he can do. I think he can maybe just go... Oh, can he go for... Oh, can he go for that? Can he go for 1 multimedia and still have enough for the internet next turn? Yes, he can. The reserves in hand make it so that he can finish internet. So definitely like that. And then next turn he has military theory and air forces. Develop both of those for the impact of technology. And then get that internet for a lot of culture. So I think this is looking pretty good for Weidenbaum now. He still has 17 production. I was quite happy with that turn. So I think we're gonna see that again. Yes, upgrade this with the efficient upgrade. Wondering what Weidenbaum is thinking about. I think the last turn looked very, very solid. There's not going to be a war from Cmacu. He can defend against an aggression. I hope that is an H3 defend card. Yeah, and then he can finish the internet next turn, go for a military theory and air forces. Looking really, really good. Doesn't really need the food right now. So I still think my call would have been the right one to put the warrior into the opera. Because he doesn't need the food right now. Of course, that is coming with hindsight. Because he didn't go for military. And he has to discard his defend card, so there could be an aggression. If he doesn't draw 1 defend card himself now. But he does. Very good, very clutch draw by him. But was very unlikely. That was the first defend card that he has drawn. And Cmacu doesn't even think about playing an aggression. So it doesn't even matter. Input of technology comes out a little bit early for Weidenbaum. Would have been better if that came out a little bit later. But Weidenbaum with the input of architecture could also be really, really nice. Yeah, that is actually really good. He can't win the input of culture, input of government. With that democracy from Cmacu also probably not a good one. And input of wonders definitely not. So input of architecture, pretty nice to draw that one. I think from Cmacu we're just gonna see a finished fast food chains. Yes, there's finished fast food chains. Grabs civil service, professional sports, and ends up at 178. I think Weidenbaum should have this game. I definitely think he should. Can play the input of architecture. That's 7 culture more for him than Cmacu and 3 for playing that. Input of industry is only 2 extra culture for Cmacu. Yeah, now Weidenbaum just has to play 1 reserve to finish that internet. Can even build something first? Yeah, he probably can go for the religion for input of variety. Can still go for reserves. Even has enough resource for something else if he wants to go for that. What would be funny is impact of harmony. That would now be at 0 for Weidenbaum. But yeah, with that he gets 30 culture for the internet. That is quite a good internet. So he ends up at 183 and even gets 17 more from his production. And he has some really good impacts in there. So he should think he has this one. So pretty close before the last production of Weidenbaum, but with that he will have quite a lead. And then he has 3 very good impacts in his in the deck as well. So that definitely is looking really, really strong for him. Let's see if he takes everything back, but I think he will just end up at the same again. But sometimes it's just good, especially in these bigger turns in the end. Just go through it again, make sure that you didn't miss anything. And make absolutely sure. I've lost more than 1 game to just playing the last turn too fast. Too excited. Okay, it's thinking about not playing the religion, but going for another team sports. That only gives them 1 more culture from the internet, 1 less production, and 2 less for the input of variety. But gives them 2 more for the input of architecture. So it looks like he's just optimizing his impacts here. I don't know if this mattered too much. The input of variety 14 against 10, so Weidenbaum's still in the lead. And then input of architecture 21 against 10. That is quite a big input of architecture, really well done. And then there's input of strength from Cmacu. Okay, so that one is nice for him, but the input of science definitely pulls it back for Weidenbaum. 246 against 216. Really low military game. If we look at this, 12 to 11 strength, quite impressive culture game. 250 culture for Weidenbaum here. Quite nice for him. Quite the interesting game. Really interesting that none of these went for really any military. There was no aggression, no wars, not a lot of strength impacts or strength events either. So that is, yeah, a very unique game to see. Such high-level players often end up in a military game, but this time definitely was all about the culture production. So yeah, thanks again to Weidenbaum for providing me with this game. I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching this. Definitely check out TTA Pulse if you haven't already. It's very, very nice. Can, for example, see now we can try to find that match from Cmacu against Weidenbaum. Where was it? Maybe that was this one yesterday, and I think that was a little bit... Yeah, maybe this one, where Weidenbaum 232. No, that's not quite alright. But yeah, definitely you can see all your history. You can, if you take a look at searching match, it finds the game automatically and creates the game automatically as well. So you don't have to do that yourself. You can just find a match and then you get your game started in the app. So that is really great. You see your progress for your rating, see the matches when you've played them and everything. You see your win rate. You play against really, really good players. So we take a look again at the ratings on top. You can even play against me. I'm in position 7 right now, and it's really, really close if you look at the ratings here. Sand Hippo still defending his title in first, and PV4 playing a lot of games. Lawang also, he's played a bunch of games. He's played 138 games, has won 101 of those. So really, really impressive. So definitely check out TTAPulse.com if you're interested in some 1 vs 1 Super Blitz games. Let me know what you think about me covering some other games where I don't play myself, but spectate other people watching, other people playing. If you had a lot of fun watching that, leave me a like, maybe comment on what you liked and what you would like to see improved. Yeah, with that said, I hope you had a lot of fun and that I see you the next time as well.